Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the dopamine resistance. So, what is the cause of dopamine resistance? We will understand about all these things and what is the effect in our body about the dopamine resistance. So, same the insulin or nicotine resistance we will discuss in the next video. But in this video, we will understand about the dopamine resistance. So in this way, the dopamine is the neurotransmitter released from your brain due to the response of the external or internal stimuli. The external stimuli can be a xenobiotic like amphetamine is a drug, or the nicotine or cannabinoid chemical in the marijuana, or the cocaine or heroin, which that will lead to trigger the more and more dopamine releasing system. And dopamine released from the excitatory neuron in your brain. And in this way, that dopamine will target for the excitation because it is the excitatory neuron. In this way, the result of the using of that substance will lead to produce a lot more dopamine as compared to the normal quantity. In this way, the dopamine will increase and rushes and bind with the dopamine receptor. The dopamine receptor, when bind with for the excitation of the neuron, in this way, the overstimulation of the dopamine will lead to damage the receptor over time. And in this way, the dopamine, when increase, will lead to damage the receptor. In this way, the dopamine resistance will occur. In this way, again, when you will intake any things which that important for the stimulation of the dopamine, required more quantity as compared to the previous experience. In this way, whenever the dopamine will release, in this way you will feel pleasure and the more satisfaction, happiness and the good mood. But in this way, the requirement of that good mood and that pleasure again require the higher quantity of the drug or the any other chemical. Or on the other hand, the behavioral stimulus like the gaming and the watching the pornography, on the other hand the watching the film or any other things. And in this way, in this way you will lead to increase the dopamine level. But in this case, over time, the dopamine receptor will be damaged, and in this way, our need of that dopamine for binding with the receptor will increase. And in this way, you will intake more dose of the stimulation. And in this way, the more intake of that things will lead to increase the dopamine release. And in this way, over time, the dopamine resistance will be increased. The dopamine resistance, basically when increased in this way, the dopamine requirement should be more, and in this way the damage of the receptor will lead to cause anxiety, depression and the post-dopamine releasing problems. And in this way, a lot more problem which that will lead to cause many complications like the memory problem, cognitive impairment, and the brain dysfunction. And the dopamine increase will lead to cause many problems. So the dopamine should be balanced in nature. Basically, in the brain, the dopamine should be a balance. For example, you should prevent that things which that is higher stimulating factors for dopamine releasing. And in this way, the dopamine, when decreased, will lead to normal cognitive function, the memory problem solved. On the other hand, a lot more things which are related to the happiness and pleasure and the regulation of the mood will improve. On the other hand, the mood swing can be possible due to the overstimulation and the dopamine resistance. The dopamine resistance is very big problem in our world, because a lot more stimulatory factors like gaming, the pornography, on the other hand, our stimulation of the dopamine due to the drug addiction, and in this way the dopamine addiction will occur. The dopamine is very important neurotransmitter released on the basis of the reward mechanism. Whenever you will intake the drug, which that will produce the dopamine as a reward mechanism. In this way, you will feel pleasure, and again, reward requirement will require the more drug quantity for increase the dopamine release. In this way, the again and again, reward creation will lead to cause addiction. That addiction will lead to our stimulation, and in this way you will not see the previous experience, and in this way the hopelessness and on the other hand the mood swing, and on the other hand basically it's a lot more problem like the frustration, irritation, and you will not feel satisfaction due to the dopamine resistance. The dopamine resistance is very, very complicated, and in this way a lot more disease can be occur, like Alzheimer disease, and on the other hand the basically the memory loss. So on the other hand, the sleep problem and insomnia can occur, and that whole thing's very problematic, like muscle fatigue and the pain in your muscle and tiredness and the sleeplessness. I hope you make sense about that. That is the dopamine resistance, and how to recover that. That is important things, and how to regulate the dopamine for normal cognitive function. And in this, the dopamine when released, it will control our body autonomically, not in our control. But whenever you will quit the smoking, quit the any other nicotine and the cannabinoid chemicals, or the cocaine and heroin, on the other hand the alcohol, in this way this all drug when inhibit will lead to not release the dopamine. It means you are going to the dopamine fasting. The dopamine fasting will improve your mood and improve and reverse the dopamine receptor, will lead to again dopamine for normal quantity bind easily to excitation of the neurotransmitter, and in this way the nervous system, and in this way your whole nervous system will be work properly. You will feel mood happily, and in this way your reverse of the dopamine resistance can be possible. So the dopamine resistance can be improved due to the exercise and fasting even, and basically stop the watching videos which that is stimulating the dopamine. The dopamine is basically a neurotransmitter, will lead to trigger the health, happiness, and the mood, proper mood functioning. On the other hand, the normal physiology. In this way, basically the happiness and the pleasure is due to the dopamine. Whenever the dopamine resistance will lead to decline the pleasure and happiness, in this way the demotivation can be possible. I hope you make sense about that. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video for this, and bye. Allah.